Have you ever heard the media say Chinese on Chinese crimes, or Mexican cartel on Mexican cartel crimes, or Russian crimes on Russian crimes? Like they always seem to say it, black on black crimes. Racist son of a... I'll be back. I had the ability to record this wise man saying this before he passed away. Rest in peace, Brent Tucker. But listen to this.
But look, the Caucasian is a person who is devoid of color. You gotta remember, black, brown, red, yellow, white. It's a locus. Out of that, that means there's nothing original can come out of him but negative. I'll show you something. You gotta remember, black, brown, red, yellow, white. It's a locus. Out of that, that means there's nothing original can come out of him but negative. Now watch. Show you something. When white people interact with white people, and there's no black people around, they kill each other. When black people come to play, they unite and turn against us. And then they make us turn against ourselves. When white people interact with white people, and there's no black people around, they kill each other. When black people come to play, they unite and turn against us. And then they make us turn against ourselves.
But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other. Right?
There it is in a nutshell. Let's get into this. Black groups such as the Black Panther Party, and contrast to what's taking place now, it was said that the Crips was formed to fight against police brutality and to protect the community. But regardless of their community-oriented reasons for forming, the corrupt powers that be still found a way to label them, black men in general, as predators, while other groups, the usual suspects, Chinese gangs, Russian mobs, Mexican cartel, have committed violent, unspeakable crimes against one another and whoever, but this damned country still idolizes them. I want to give an example of what stigmatized means. The definition of stigmatized means describe or regard as worthy of disgrace or great disapproval. And who am I speaking about? No matter what black folks do, good or bad, they're still stigmatized. And this is happening worldwide. I ran across some articles. Nobody really talks about it, but the Italians are big racist, anti-black. It was at a point where they had to evacuate the Africans out of a country or a village in Italy because they were being attacked and killed just because they're black. And then it was a case that happened, I think, a couple of years ago of two Italian brothers beating this black Italian to death. I think he tried to intervene, and they were attacking his friend, and they turned their hatred on him. So, but nobody's really talking about that I'm aware of. Let's continue. As I mentioned earlier, have you ever heard the media or anyone mention the term or say the term Asian on Asian crime? Have you heard the media or other people say Italian on Italian crime, Russian on Russian crime, and so on and so forth? That term is never used for any other group. The degrading racist term apparently is only reserved for those called Black Americans. That is what you call stigmatized, folks. And who made sure that Black folks were stigmatized globally? The racist term black on black crime is actually preposterous. I'll tell you why. Each group I mentioned previously have and still do commit crimes, violent crimes against one another. They commit crimes against people who look like them. Come walk with me and talk with me. I like that saying for some reason. But for real, let's take a quick stroll down Audacity Lane while I point out tragic and cruel events that occurred throughout history by other groups who damn near eviscerated one another, but somehow they are still praised, revered almost, while those called Black Americans are, say it with me folks, stigmatized. Chinese on Chinese crime. In a 2018 article, they said that in late January, the Chinese Communist Party officially launched a grand campaign against gang crime by issuing a strong-worded notification on carrying out a special struggle to clean up gang crime, eliminate evil. This province arrested more than 1,400 suspects, busted 202 gangs involved in 532 cases, and seized more than 9.21 million yuan. I probably said it wrong. Another province has busted 175 gangs and arrested 1,111 suspects. They claim that it has been fired the first shot against gang crime by arresting more than 1,200 suspects. Even the All China Lawyers Association, the official national association for China's lawyers, has established a special committee to guide those lawyers who will provide services to gang crime suspects. According to the Central Committee's spirit, the ACLA said that all lawyers should fully understand the great significance of carrying out the special struggle against gang crime and unify their thoughts and actions with the policy of the Central Committee. And this is what's happening, and I'm sure it's still happening in China. But they always stigmatize Black folks. But they'll do a movie praising, or seeming to me, praising, Chinese gang violence. Let's continue. A 2024 article on Chinese gang crime said the global footprint of criminal groups from China has expanded along the China's economic and geopolitical presence around the world. North America's fentanyl crisis has thrust China-like criminal networks and their expanding international connections, such as with the Mexican cartel. However, the scope of organized crime from China extends far beyond global drug trafficking and money laundering. Internationally, Chinese criminal groups engaged in poaching and wildlife trafficking, cybercrime, and elaborate fraud and scams, also featuring people trafficking and enslaved. Long experience in illegally bringing people to the United States and Canada, criminal networks from China have intensified activities at the U.S. Mexico border. You already know what I'm about to say, but they still seem to stigmatize Black folks. Let's continue. We will be talking about Japanese crimes. Approximately 5,200 Yakuza gangs operating throughout Japan began to stake out their territories, and violent gang wars occurred. Violent gang wars. These gangs controlled many businesses, engaged in sophisticated gambling and loan sharking activities, and invested heavily in sports and other entertainment. They also became involved in drugs, money lending, smuggling, and pornography. So, When these gangs are involved in illegal activities and violent crimes, do you think they don't kill one another? People who actually look like them. You know how they always say, black on black crime, oh my God. So these other groups who are involved in violent crimes worldwide, they don't kill one another? Let's continue. Now we're going to talk about the Mexican crimes. A February 2024 CBS News article wrote, investigators in Mexico said they have largely confirmed the contents of a grisly drug cartel video showing gunmen shooting, kicking, and burning the corpse of their enemies. In a country where videos of decapitations and executions have appeared on social media before the video released Tuesday was still chilling. Prosecutors in the Pacific Coast state had reached the remote scene of the crime in the mountain township. They found 5 charred bodies. It said the bodies were transferred to the state forensic medical service. However, at least 15 bodies can be seen in the video before they are set alight. One gunman gleefully sits atop the tangled pile, laughing and stomping on the dead. Again, I'm going to ask the question, because some people seem to be a little brain dead or stuck on black folks. These people in these violent criminal groups, are they not killing those who look like them? You know what's so funny is, after hearing all this, you still have some racist to the core heart saying, well, still, I'm not even talking to you. Go excuse yourself. If you know you are racist at heart, don't push play on these videos. Because it seems like you guys are just obsessed with just saying something and that we're not interested in hearing. Have you not learned that yet? That we're really not interested in anything you're saying. It's almost like you just fantasize about us being on a plantation, running your mouth, and we are just made to listen to you. We don't have to listen to you anymore. So shut up. Let's continue. Let's talk about Venezuelans. Crimes. April 9th, 24 article said, as thousands of Venezuelans fleeing from Nicolas Maduro seek refuge in the United States, members of a violent gang that has already triggered crime waves in a number of Latin American countries are hiding among them, causing concern among U.S. officials, fearing that they now seek to set up shop in major American cities. You don't say. Rising from a Venezuelan prison and quickly expanding to become a sort of umbrella organization for other gangs. The so-called trendy Argawa train. Okay, if I said it wrong, my deepest apologies. For years dominated crime in vast areas of the South American country, specializing in a long list of crimes ranging from extortion, car theft, kidnapping, to drug trafficking, prostitution, and murder for hire. So, let's just talk about the murder for hire. You think if, say, a person hired them to take someone's life, you think they would have boundaries and limitations to say, oh no, I couldn't possibly take the life of someone who looks like me? Oh, but that's why people who look like them is fleeing their country and trying to come over here supposedly for asylum. But those who are coming over here for asylum, it seemed like, if you really were coming over here to escape the violence in your country and brutality and crime, you wouldn't come over here perpetuating what's happening in your country, right? You'll come over here and be like, oh, I just had enough. I've seen enough violence and crime for a lifetime. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want it around me. Well, why are you perpetuating it? Seems like somebody lying. This is all a big setup, but like I said in numerous videos, anytime this country, and it's a real big setup against people who look like me. Anytime this country does things against us, it always backfires in their face and makes them look so ridiculous that they look so ridiculously pathetic that you got to turn your head because they look that bad. And the reason why is because we are God's chosen. And the Bible says you can't curse who's blessed. So I don't care what it look like. I don't care how you judge us. I don't care how you talk about us. We're still blessed and we're still chosen. Clown. And that's why it always backfires against you horribly. To the point where all we, Let's continue. Now let's talk about Russians on Russian crimes. The Russians have what they call Thieves Code of Conduct. There is a traditional code of conduct within this old style of organized crime in Russia called, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but in English terms, it's called Thieves in Law. It's called Thieves in Law. This group existed throughout the Soviet era and continues today throughout the republics of the former Soviet Union. In this society, the thieves in law live and obey Voyevodsky Zakon. It sounds like I butchered it, but hey, you guys understand. I'm gonna put the word up in text so you guys can try to pronounce it with me. I know there are some scholars out there you are born geniuses. So the Thieves Code. The members are bound by 18 codes, and if they are broken, the transgression is punishable by death. Most of the organized crime groups are involved in extortion, precious metal, and raw material smuggling, money laundering, fraud, weapons smuggling, narcotics trafficking, and black marketing. I'll read about 4 of the codes, and then I'll probably put the entire list of the codes in the description. A thief is bound by the code 2:1, forsake his relatives, mother, father, brother, and sisters. Number 2, not have a family of his own, no wife, no children. This does not, however, preclude him from having a lover. 3, never under any circumstances work, no matter how much difficulty this brings. Live only on means gleaned from thievery. Okay. They don't want them to have a legitimate job. Okay. 4, help other thieves, both by moral and material support, utilizing commune of thieves. That's deep. And number 5, this is the last one I'm going to read. Keep secret information about the whereabouts of accomplices, i.e. dens, districts, hideouts, safe, apartments, etc. While the Russian mafia is a favorite antagonist of Hollywood screenwriters, it sure is. That's what you call white on white crime. They always white Americans seem like they got a bug up their butts when it comes to Russians. Anyway, it is thought to be, I personally believe that any country that America, in a sense, bullied, it seems like it's bullying to me. It's a reason other than what they're saying. The media is paid and bought like a prostitute. So they're going to say whatever they're told to say. It's no true journalism. But, I really believe that the countries that America talks so badly about, it's something else going on. They probably won't let America punk them out. So then they're going to, try to diminish their names, destroy their names. Like a dude, like a guy, if, he's trying to push up on a female and she like, no, I'm not interested. So he goes around and tell everybody he slept with her and then try to make her look like a bad lay. That's worse than, I wouldn't even say that's elementary mentality, because it's giving a name to the grammar school students, our children. They don't know no better. They're still mentally developing. But a grown man who does that, what is wrong? Who raised you? Let's continue. The criminal underworld is thriving like never before in Europe. The individuals and groups are not random. They are highly organized, well-funded, and responsible for rising levels of cyber terrorism, money laundering, and murder. Fortune magazine lists the Bratva, alternately known as the Russian Mafia, as the largest organized crime group in the world and it ranks above both the Japanese Yakuza and the Mexican Sinaloa cartel in terms of overall revenue. More interesting than its current standing is how it achieved its status from a culture that encouraged crime to a government that aided and abetted it. The Russian Federation has become a hotbed for a growing criminal underworld. So you know it's Russian on Russian crime happening, right? They don't there's no distinction. It's like you do something to them, they gonna do it back to you. But they're not stigmatized. Well, I don't know about stigmatized. They still would give Russian criminals or mobsters or gangs a big pass compared to black folks. Let's continue. Let's talk about that Albanian crime. It was a 2018 article I came across. It says, violence is spilling from Britain's cities to seaside resorts and country villages thanks to the rise of ruthless Albanian gangs who live and die by their Besa Anarcho. I don't know how to say. I hope I said that right. The changing landscape of organized crime has police chiefs increasingly worried as the Balkans mafia muscle in on the lucrative cocaine trade across the UK. Mobs with links to South American cartels now have a strange hold over much of the wholesome cocaine market. Experts say they have flooded Britain with high purity crack, which is partly behind a sharp rise in stabbings and shootings as local dealers fight turf wars. Albanians were already renowned for gun smuggling, as well as vice rackets and people trafficking, with control of an estimated 75% of the sex trade in London Soho. But they still would revere them over black folks. Let's go on. Last but not least, let's talk about the Italians on Italians crime. An April 2024 article is titled Inside Italy's Most Violent Mafia Gangs. Ruthless Apollyon mobsters shoot victims in the face, dump bodies in caves, burn down farms, and use skinned goats to intimidate lawyers in region blighted by murderous clans. 4 bodies were found lying near a railroad crossing and a small disused train station. Their bodies were riddled with rounds. Suspicion quickly fell on the Apulian Mafia, also known as I'm not going to even try to say the name, or Italy's ruthless Fourth Mafia, named fourth after the feared trio of the Sicilies, Cosa Nostra, whose fame was amplified by the Godfather film. See what I'm talking about? The killings were by no means the first in the region, which has been gripped by mob violence for several years. Victims have been shot in the face with shotguns, bodies have been dumped in caves, and farms have been burned down to intimidate locals. And again, these people they're trying to intimidate, you think they look like them or they look like somebody else? Okay, let's move it along. Let's go to, you got my point, right? Let's go to discuss the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was founded in October 1966 in Oakland, California, by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, who met at Merritt College in Oakland. It was a revolutionary organization with an ideology of black nationalism, socialism, and armed self-defense, particularly against police brutality. Some of those cops act like they're still on the plantation. Let's move on. It was part of the Black Power movement, which broke from the integrationist goals and nonviolent protest tactics of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The BPP name was inspired by the use of the Black Panther as a symbol that had recently been used by the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, an independent black political party in Alabama. And they came together to protect their community from oppressiveness. And you know what I'm talking about. Not just police, but, the police are taking orders from our actual government and local and state officials. Now let's veer off and talk about the Crips. For those of you who don't know, the Crips was first formed in '69 under the leadership of Raymond Washington. Students were drawn together who attended Washington High School, whose school color was blue. This gang grew quickly and preyed on citizens. Other gangs began to form to defend themselves against the Crips. Two of these gangs were the Brims and the Pyrus. Even though Crips and Bloods are rivals, it's said that the Crips were created to fight police brutality and protect the black community, the black youth from racism. I wonder who came in and helped taint that group. So anytime we build something that's supposed to be positive, or it was the basis and foundation was something positive to be helpful, someone always got to come in and bring confusion. Let's go. Let's talk about the Blood Pyru. The purpose of the formation of the Bloods was to compete against the Crips. Everything began in 1960s when the Crips founder Raymond Washington and other members attacked two students, Sylvester Scott and Benson Owens. This led Scott to form the Pyru Street Boys. This gang was the first Bloods gang. Their initial mission was to protect themselves from the Crips. Gradually, Benson Owens established the West Pyru gang. Gang membership and criminal behavior were fueled by the deterioration of the inner city as affluent blacks and whites moved to the suburb. Black folks had to go on to follow their oppressors. Gangs began to feel the... But you know what? I'm not going to even go there, because I understand why successful black people moved away. I do. I get it. You wanted peace. You didn't want to live around the muck and mire that the powers that be created in the urban community. They wanted to keep your head on a swivel. They wanted to keep you stressed out and frustrated and angry to the point where you start turning against one another. It was all a plan. It's all a plan. But my thing is, those who were successful and how you had a little change in the bank, why you didn't stay in your community and help instead of running away? And then you moved around these people that like to burn crosses in the yard for fun. Let's continue. The 80s saw a major increase in black gang membership and activity, as well as gang violence. The gang life was further promoted by the emergence of gangster rap music. Some gang members claim that they have sought to emulate the lifestyles and attitudes portrayed in the gangster rap songs. Female gang members have gained equal standing with male members in today's Crips and Bloods. And I can add to that, I used to talk to this guy. I can't remember if he had just got out of prison or had been out for a few years, but he was trying to do some positive things for his community because he was trying to atone for the things he did before he went to prison. And he confided in me that, well, it wasn't really him confiding, but he shared with me that one of the things that got him involved in gangs, he said he was upset with Ice Cube because he started emulating them. So it's like a lot of it. I know some people are like, oh, he's a grown man. What was you remember? Okay, listen. Some people, it depends on what's going on in their lives. If they don't see anyone else to look up to follow in their footsteps, they're going to unfortunately look at the entertainment industry. And that's why they have people who look like us speak so violently and vile about their own people. You don't see any white Jewish boys getting up there rapping and singing. You barely see white dudes getting up there and rapping and singing about people who look like them, saying vile, stupid lyrics about people who look like them. You damn sure ain't gonna see too many other people other than us. And we fall for a hook, line, and sinker all the time. Why do you think they like to get high and drink so much? It's their conscience. You wasn't made to be this vile and wicked and hurt people, and they know this music is hurting people. If all you do is listen to this crap all day, you telling me it don't affect your soul, your psyche, makes you angry and frustrated? Some dudes used to go, and they still probably do, go out there and get high and they get high and listen to this crap so they can pump themselves up to go do a lick. Let's continue. Black gang members have a strong conviction that they are oppressed by white society. The gang life of the Crips and Bloods is motivated primarily by the desire for financial gain through crime, including carjackings, narcotics trafficking, and armed robberies. Criminal gangs such as the Crips, Bloods can only be countered and prevented though a cooperative effort that involves local governments, social groups, churches, the business community, schools, law enforcement, the court system, the correctional system, and social services systems. And none of them systems would do too much to help. They've been there for the longest. Look at the state of our community. It ain't changed. A lot of these people in those systems infiltrated those systems to ensure that the chaos and confusion still happens in our community. And I don't want to hear nothing about conspiracy theory. Yeah, okay, I got your conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy when there's a plethora of evidence to show that it's intentional and was intentional. I don't have too much to say ending this video because we are at the end, but I will insert this video that I stumbled across, and I appreciate the channel for posting this video. Check this out.
To discuss the conditions and the very traumatic situations that so-called black people have been going through. Now, we all know that our suffering have been going on for hundreds of years, but now, in this period of time, it's starting to get attention, even from our oppressors. Why is that?
I'm working on a film, and it is a historical recreation about a Black Panther scene that happened here in LA. And I've learned some crazy things about like what the cops, the CIA, and the FBI did to the black people in the 50s and 60s in order to keep them down. So my question is like, why are black people so oppressed? Like, why that group of people is so oppressed? Like, what is going on to where they're enslaved, and then they're oppressed, and then they have no rights, and then they have the cops come up with this scheme to like get them locked up by privatizing the jails and then using rap music in order to get them all riled up and put into jail. And then the cops went, all the cops did in these big cities was just mess with them and just like arrest them and just arrest them for no reason in order to lock them up. But why? Like, why the oppression? Like, I think I know why. I think I know why. And then nobody wants to hire them for jobs. So they're on food stamps, and they're living in Section 8 housing, you know, in the 80s, 90s, and, you know, early 2000s. Like, they're just, like, stuck, and they can't get out of this, like, cycle of, like, one bad thing happens to them after another. It's, like, insane. Like, why is this group so oppressed? And is it because they're God's people? Is it because they're God's people? Like, is it because they're happy? I mean, and then what do? We blame them, right? Like, the media is really good at blaming them for everything. Like, everything that goes wrong in their life is their fault, but it's not. We did all this to them and hid this under, like, some kind of, like, you know, cloak of they're just really messed up, and they're not good, but they're beautiful people.
Well, there you go. And to further expound on what he said about it being their fault, his words, I have a video or two videos that I did called the Kerner Report, and it was a report that was conducted in the 60s. They went around the country interviewing Black Americans in the ghetto, asking them, you know, about their frustrations and how they saw this country, and they came with the conclusion that it was white racists who were Black America's problem. So if you want to, like I said, if you want to know the truth, you came to the right channel. If you want to be played with and you want to be made to feel good, even though you know you're in the wrong, this ain't the place for you. So I'm gonna put the links to that video, both of those videos, in the description. Other than that, thank you for your time and attention. If you are new to this channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, check out some more videos, and we appreciate your support. Thank you. Peace out. Have a good day.